Hello, and welcome to an all new episode of Pilot Season, the show where we talk about TV show pilots. And I am so glad to be here, joined by my wonderful co host. And I'm going to start off, of course, ladies first, uh, all the way from the DMV area. Actually, both are from the DMV area. We'll
Woo.
start off with one and only Renee. How you doing, Renee?
I'm great. Can't wait for Golden Girls, one of my favorites.
All right, all right, all right. And I'm so glad that you are here.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here.
Oh, oh. And also joining us, also from the DMV area, the V part,
Yeah. Yes.
we
Woohoo.
have the one and only Tori Rush. How you doing, Tori?
I'm doing great. I can't wait to talk about the Golden Girls too. This is such a great episode.
Um, just as a side note, as the DMV area, it's
Yes.
the V is the least best part.
Oh.
Sorry, Tori.
Virginia does suck.
But it's okay. It's okay. You
It's
can't.
okay.
All right. Also,
Commonwealth.
also joining us is the one and only Josh. How you
Wow,
doing,
not
Josh?
last this time. That's amazing.
Never last, man.
Wait, does that
First
mean
in
I'm not
our
the best anymore?
hey, you said you didn't want to be the closing act anymore, so you know, you know.
So many subtle messages that I need to read through.
But I'm glad you are here, Joshua.
Me too.
All right, and then last but definitely not least is the captain, Captain Olaf Barbosa.
Hey, how's it going? It's been another great day in the wonderful state of Indiana. But a little side note here. It's like I've never watched the Golden Girls, so I don't know anything about Rose or Blanche or
What?
or it's like no, I no. Oh, that was one of my favorite shows. I tell you, it's one of my favorites.
Yes, 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 and we're gonna get deep into Golden Girls. So I think the way that I like to start off, and I'm screwing up already. Um, the way I like to start off is kind of give the landscape of what television was like when our show was on. So this show premiered in 1985, and so the shows that were on as well was Growing Pains. You guys know that show. 227. MacGyver was on.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
um, What's Happening Now?
Mm.
Spencer for Hire. We also had uh, Thundercats was on.
Oh,
Remember Thundercats?
Thundercats.
Cats
Oh.
ho.
Thundercats ho.
Not that hoe.
Thundercats ho.
Not that hoe.
Oh! I got my hose mixed up. I got my hose mixed up. My bad.
Yeah.
So that was the landscape of television around that time. And the show started September 14th, 1985. September 15th is my mom's birthday. So it was the day before my mom's birthday.
No.
And that show stars Bea Arthur, Betty White, Rue McClanahan, and of course Estelle Getty are the stars of the show. And it was created by Susan Harris. Now, Susan Harris was famous because before Golden Girls, she created a show called Soap. And I don't know if you remember the show Soap. It was a very good show. Billy Crystal was on that show, among other actors as well. So that was like her kind of that was her first kind of coming out, uh, Susan Harris. And so let's get into it. Um, let's just we're all are aware of Golden Girls. I'm not gonna go one by one, right? We all watched
Mhm.
it, right? Right? Is that fair to say?
Yes,
Yep.
I
absolutely.
watched it. I watched it once.
No.
Just
I've seen this episode.
All right. Good one, good one, good one. All right,
It's true.
so let's say now what I will go one by one is, and we'll start off with you, Josh, because you know
Mhm.
uh, you don't You always say we go to you last. Um, uh, how would you say how much would you say you like the show? Is it it's okay, it's really good, it's
The
all
show
time
as a whole.
as a whole, yeah.
Um, well, I've seen this episode. This was
Really?
my
This
first experience with the Golden Girls.
Are you
Is
serious?
it really?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a Golden
No.
I
Girls
thought you were
nerd?
joking.
No,
my
no, I
gosh.
was not joking at all.
Oh my
Well, so
Oh
you're a golden girl.
wow.
You're a Golden Girls virgin.
We have a
Wow.
virgin on the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
welcome.
guess you could say that.
You know what? I need like a graphic to show up when someone's like a virgin,
Oh my god.
Like a
and like
virgin.
and like alarm bells going off and
Arrows
virgin in
pointing
the
and
house,
like
virgin in the house. Oh wow, okay.
Oh
All
my gosh.
right, so this is gonna be interesting to then to hear what you thought. So we'll come back to you.
Okay.
Now, what about you, Olaf? Were you how much would you say you like this show?
Oh, that's like I said, of the shows I watched back in that, it's like when that came out, I loved that because the comedy and everything, just how I mean, it's like Betty White's character, was just phenomenal. I mean, she was such a clueless, and she
Yeah.
played it so well, and they all played off of each other so well. I just, I just love the show. I mean, and all the characters, Sophia and all them. It's like they just work completely well, very well together. It was just an awesome show.
Yeah.
Did I say that I liked it or not? I can't remember.
Yeah, kind of.
All right, and what about you, Tori?
Well, okay, I am a big fan, and I have been a big fan since I was little, actually. Like, whenever it was really on TV, that's how old I am. Anyway, so I love the characters. I identify with all of them at some point in my life. Um, let's see. I think it's great that they have each other to lean on because whenever you get older, you lose friends. You don't really gain
Yeah.
friends. So that's pretty cool that they are living life with each other because if not, they'd be by themselves and it wouldn't have been the Golden Girls. So yeah.
Aw. And what about you, Renee?
I love this show. Like scale of 1 to 10, it's 1,000 trillion%. So one of my favorites and so funny, and I can watch every episode 100 times, and I still laugh and crack up. But yeah,
I remember one year it said it was the #1 show in prisons, male prisons, which was kind of interesting. That, So okay, so let's kind of get into the show. Now I have a little information about the show. The Blanche character that's played by Rue McClanahan.
Mhm.
Initially, when they were casting the show, they wanted Betty White to play Blanche, and they wanted Rue McClanahan to play Rose. And what happened was Rue McClanahan felt like she would be a better Blanche than Rose. So they allowed her a chance to do it, and they actually switched it around. And Betty White was actually disappointed because she was looking forward to playing the Blanche character because it was something very different than what she had done before. But as we know now that they did it right. They did it right. It's like you can't even picture Betty White playing that character, and definitely you don't picture. I mean, they're great actresses, but it's just they're their characters. It's hard to even fathom. But so that was a little note about that. Okay, so now what was interesting about this episode? I know I must have seen this pilot before. I must have seen the pilot before, but I didn't remember it. I didn't realize. Did you guys realize that they lived in Blanche's house?
Yes, I did.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah.
I didn't
No.
remember that. I was like, I thought it was their all three of their homes. I didn't realize that it was actually
Okay.
specifically. At least I didn't remember that it was
No,
their
Yeah.
I
home.
like I knew that it was Blanche's house. Yeah.
Yeah. But it seemed
Yeah,
like as the show went on, where her room was, like from the pilot, it switched like to the other side of the house.
right,
Her so yeah, so because that was like the lanai or whatever they called it when they went that way. Let me say it that way.
right. And I
But
didn't
yeah.
and I didn't realize how when the show started out
Mm-hmm.
how little they really knew each other. They hadn't been
Mm.
together that long. I don't know. In my mind, I thought they were like old friends, but because it's
I
been a
did
while
too.
since I've seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was interesting too to see. Oh,
How
okay.
they
They
set it up.
like this is kind of new. And then also we got to talk about there was a fifth Golden Girl in this episode, if you will, and that was they had the gay what was
the
it what
The
the
chef,
fancy
the
man. He
cook,
was the
the
fancy
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 man.
man.
man, the
Yeah.
He
fancy
was the
man.
fancy man. Yeah.
Like which is funny though. Like how would you describe it? He's not a just a cook. He's like their
He's the butler.
but I mean
Yeah.
but like he did
Ha-
everything basically,
Yeah.
and he
housekeeper and all that. So yeah.
and he was on guard, like he was on call like 24 hours, like it was the middle of the night and he's like making
Making
food for
Yeah.
them and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, man,
I
that
need one of those. I need one
Yeah.
of those.
I know, man. I know that man was awesome.
Let's
I
win
forgot about
millions of dollars and then we can have one like that.
Right.
yeah, like he must not have been on the show very long, because I don't really remember his character much, but I thought that was funny and some of the jokes that kind of aimed at
Mhm.
it. Susan Harris was famous because on the show Soap they
Mhm.
had like the Billy Crystal character was a gay character, and so she was always like on the forefront of having gay characters before
B.
it was
Arthur
okay.
B.
Mhm.
Arthur actually starred in a Broadway play, and then it got made into a movie about
Mhm.
lesbianism, and
Oh, really?
she was a real like forefront person, yeah, when it
Mm.
came to rights and stuff like that.
Because I believe she was right.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So all right, let's go into the characters. Um, we'll start off with Bea Arthur, Dorothy, who is basically the lead of the show. She's billed as the lead, even though it's an ensemble cast.
Mhm.
And I will go to our virgin first.
Okay.
So Bea Arthur,
Hmm.
Dorothy. What did you think, Virgin, of his of her character?
Oh, let's see. My first impression was, oh, she's a terrible person. Maybe it's a little bit of a background working with kids and whatnot, but
Mm.
that early on description of being freaked out by some of the students, like a girl with a bald head. Like, wow, things have changed since the 80s. If that's what was considered
What did
extreme.
you up?
And the real saving grace was that she used her cynicism and added a nice splash of wit.
Hmm.
Mm.
So when she was mean, it was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's the point. The fact that in most, I think, relationships, when you got people saying things as scathing as that to each other, some of those friendships might not last, but it does take a bit of understanding to know the person behind the character. And unfortunately, because I don't have the years and years of experience or the mindset of being in the 80s, it didn't work for me at first. But as I got accustomed to who she is,
Mm.
I was like, okay, she's cracking wise, and is actually pretty good with the retorts.
Yes,
Mhm.
and be honest with you, Josh, as someone who's seen damn near everything, if not, I've probably seen every episode multiple times. It's one of the funniest shows. Like
Mhm.
I'm almost jealous to be Josh because
Yeah.
that show holds up probably some one of the best. Like you
Mhm.
will die like this episode wasn't the greatest representation of what you'll get as the show
Yeah.
goes on, but it's you will die. You will die laugh. Like there's times where you're like gut busting
Yeah.
laughing on the
Said
like.
I have thoughts, I have feelings about what happened in this episode. So feel free to come at me at any time.
Oh, I will. I will for sure. Okay, so Renee,
Uh-huh.
B. Arthur, Dorothy, um, in this episode. Oh, you're not Josh. Let me take that off the screen. There you
Uh-huh.
go.
Surprise.
All right. So, how do you like how they introduced her, and overall, what are your feelings about her character?
Well, I mean, I guess it is harder because I've seen probably every episode a lot, so it's harder to say my thought of who they are in the pilot because I
Hmm.
know their characters and I know what they do and all that stuff. So, but I
Hmm.
think their character, like who they are, it just comes out at the beginning. But you learn more about it as as you watch the show. So I mean, I think it was perfect. But I was kind of the same like Josh. I just thought she was a mean teacher, a mean lady. She was mean. So, but I like her sarcasm because I think I come off like that sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, was that mean? But yeah, I mean, and I like how I like her anytime something happens, like if Rose would say something stupid, the way that she like turns and looks at her, that's like the
Yeah.
classic Dorothy
Yeah.
stare. So
Yeah.
yeah.
My one of my favorite parts in this is when she's when Dorothy's talking about how she looked in the mirror and she didn't like who she saw, and Rose goes, "Who was in the mirror?"
Yeah.
Yeah, had me cracking up.
Yeah.
All right, so Olaf, what about Dorothy? Your
Now,
thoughts on Dorothy?
well, it's like Dorothy's character in Noah's Head. It's like it was just they picked the perfect person for
Mhm.
that. Now you have to remember she has her catchphrase, the three most famous words that she speaks all the time. Shut up, Rose.
Oh yeah.
Shut up,
Several
Rose.
times in that episode.
Yeah, you could turn that into a drinking game, and
Right.
you'd be just gone by the first commercial.
Right.
And the scene where she wanted her to shut up, so she threw something and said,
Yeah,
"She's
go
like, go
get
Go
that.
get,
go
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 get
pick,
that."
pick that up.
Go pick that up, Rose. It's like, shut up, and then shake. Yeah. Like I said, they
That's
couldn't have
funny.
picked a better person to
Mhm.
play Dorothy. I mean, she's a big woman, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
tall and stuff. So she's a little on the scary side to start with. So,
Right.
and like with the when she's talking about, I go into the classroom and there's two bald-headed girls, teenage girls, and then three of the guys had green hair, and
Mhm.
and I told them that they were too ugly to stay and had to leave, send them out of the room. And then I had to deal with it's like a guy in a three-piece suit who's defending his
Mhm.
bald-headed daughter, Tiffany. It's, I mean, it's just, yeah, as a school teacher, yeah, she'd make a pretty good one because she won't take
Right.
no crap off nobody.
Right.
Right.
She probably be
Uh,
good today.
yeah,
Right.
well, no, just like in
Okay.
today's school, she wouldn't last
She
because
wouldn't
they
laugh.
they don't put up with that stuff.
Yeah, that's
That's too
true.
mean to the kids.
Right.
Right.
You
You're
can't
probably
Right.
right.
you can't tell them that kind of stuff today. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just oh my gosh. But yeah, love her character.
Yeah. And welcome to the show, Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Jen.
Hey,
Hi, Jen.
And we're
I'm.
talking about the Golden Girls.
Oh,
And
were you talking about me?
no, no, no,
Thanks, guys.
no.
You're
Oh
welcome.
yeah,
Well,
and
I was. I mean, I was asking, where's Jen? We got to have Jen.
Well, another fun fact. The show Sex in the City. They just did the reboot or whatever or
Hmm.
Yeah.
revival, and they're the age that the Golden Girls are right now. The actual actresses.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So and
That's
some
Oh, that's
funny.
scary.
and Sarah, what's her name? Sarah
Jessica
Jessica
Parker.
Jessica
Parker.
Parker,
Parker.
yeah.
She was doing a press run to promote the new revival of Sex in the City, and a reporter said, "Hey, do you know that you guys are the same age as the Golden Girls?" And the look on her face was
Yeah.
like, like, yeah, I saw that. Like she wasn't. She didn't like that was brought up at all. So
It wasn't Estelle Getty. She was the youngest, I think.
I
Even though she
believe,
played the mom, I think she was the youngest one on the show.
yeah, I had
I
always
think she
heard
was.
that. I
Yeah.
always heard that she was the youngest.
I don't
How old
She
know.
were
did.
they?
She
Mm.
she was born in 23. So
Okay.
let's see. Let's see. Rue McClanahan. I'm putting their business
I
card.
thought they were saying she was youngest, but maybe not.
No, Rue McClanahan was born in 34,
Okay. Okay.
and Betty White was born in 22. So she's
Mhm.
Oh, so she
older by
was
a
older.
year.
Okay.
Oh
Hmm.
my
And
gosh.
Bea Arthur was born in 22 as well. So yeah.
So just one.
So Rue
Okay.
McClanahan was actually
Was
she was a lot younger than all of them.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
They
the
How
were.
same year my mom was born in 22.
Aw.
how old were they supposed to be
On the
in
show.
on the
You know
show?
that no, they didn't really say how old they were.
Well,
Yeah.
they were teenagers, but they had a really hard life.
Wow.
They did a lot of drugs. A lot.
A
you
lot,
know,
lot.
okay. The
Yes, I
show
went
came out
there.
in '85.
Hmm.
The show came out in '85, so that was um, what's that? Almost 40 years
Now,
ago. So they were,
yeah,
I guess they were in their 60s, something like
Yeah.
that,
probably,
something
yeah.
to that effect. So
I'm reading that. Let's see. In the Golden Girls, Rose is 55, Dorothy
Okay,
is 53,
okay,
Blanche is 47, and Sophia is 79.
okay.
Which
oh
is,
wow,
considering when they were actually born,
Yeah.
kind of.
On point.
wait a minute, she was only 47.
On
Yeah.
this her character.
Wow,
I know. She seems so much older.
man, I'm
Hmm.
like, damn, I'm almost her age. right,
You're a golden boy.
right. Oh my god, oh
Yeah.
god,
Me,
So funny.
I still almost remember that age. So
wow, oh
I
man,
plead the fifth.
wow.
it's
Okay,
undefeated.
all right. So, Jen, we're talking about Bea Arthur, Dorothy. So we're kind of just breaking down each character. So she's the first one. So you came at the right time. So what did you think about how they established her character in this episode, and then overall, your thoughts of her character and what she brought to the cast?
Well, okay. First of all, I full disclosure, I love the fact that there is the segue with B. Arthur from uh, the other show, which now I'm going to feel stupid for not knowing. Um,
Maud or
Maud.
Maud?
Maud.
Maud, thank
Yeah,
you, thank you,
Maud.
yeah.
thank you, thank you. Because I remember my parents used to watch that, or it was like
Hmm.
on a rerun or something like that, and I didn't really understand the show. But then when I watched Golden Girls, I actually
It makes
really,
sense.
really appreciated. Yes, first of all, I love how strong she is. Secondly, I love her snark. Her snark is my
Hmm.
favorite. There is that level of sarcasm is like it's rare that you get a character that is lovable and yet drips with sarcasm. I super love that. And then the last thing is I got to say, just as a strong woman, um they made her, they gave her soft edges, which I
Hmm.
really appreciated. And even in this first episode, you really saw a lot of vulnerability, which I think was such a nice uh juxtaposition between how snarky and sometimes just like, you know, the nails come out, rawr kind of feeling. But I loved that. So I really, really like this character. I really feel like B. Arthur was exactly the right choice for this character. Some of the other characters maybe not, like maybe they could have been somebody else, but not this character.
Mhm.
Hmm. So, our next character that we're wait, did I get you, Tori?
No.
Oh, my
No.
bad, my bad. Tori,
It's okay.
Tori, what
um,
was your thoughts?
let's see. I mean, you guys kind of all said it all, like what I was thinking. I like how tall she is because I'm tall. She's like my soul person because like
No.
we're both snarky and we both like make offhanded comments and stuff like that. I find myself in a lot of social situations doing the same thing. So, or people don't get my humor. You know, like Rose doesn't get her humor at
Right.
all. So, like, it goes way above her head. And she just doesn't get it. It's so funny. But at least she tries, you know, like, tries to be she doesn't try to be nice, and that's refreshing because some people try to be nice, they're mean, and you just can't help being mean, you know.
Well,
Can we just really briefly just have a moment, even if it's just 10 seconds, to truly appreciate B. Arthur's hair?
oh
Like,
yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know who was doing her hair, but damn, that was like a character all by
Mhm.
itself.
That's funny. No, that's a good one. Um, all right, so our next character, and we'll go back to Tori, comes from a town named after you, Olaf,
Mm.
Saint Olaf. Uh, uh,
Uh-huh.
Rose. Now, Betty White, didn't she pass away like what? Only a few months ago, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not been that
Hmm.
long.
January.
Yeah,
Yeah.
January.
yeah. It was
It
so
was so
sad.
sad.
She was so close to 100. Like I think she was like weeks away or something
Yeah.
like
A
that.
week or
Yeah,
two.
she
Yeah,
was a week away, about a week away from her birthday. So yeah.
Mhm.
yeah. So, tell me what you thought about Rose in this episode, and your overall thoughts, Tori.
Okay, so I think that Rose is the most unaware person that I've ever met in my like I don't know how gullible and naive a person has to be that way, but like she was raised in the like I want to know where she was raised. I want to go to
Saint
that
Olaf.
city. So yeah, but
Saint
I want to
Olaf.
go
Yeah.
there. I
Yeah.
want to go there in the winter
And
time, you
see, I
know.
know. It's true.
she's she's such a breath of fresh air in this series. You know, sometimes it gets a little hairy, and she always
Mhm.
has a good comedy. And Betty White is such a comedian. She really
Mhm.
is. Like she exuded funny vibes. So
Mhm.
like she's such a she's so cute too. Her hair is amazing. It never moves. Like it's
Yeah.
the same coif.
Right. No, yeah, yeah, pretty. Yeah, she's pretty awesome. What about you, Josh? What'd you think about the Rose character? Oh, and by the way, Jen, um, this Josh is a Golden Girls
Girl.
virgin. This is his first episode that he's ever seen of Golden Girls.
Wow.
So we got a virgin in the house. So, all right, Virgin Josh, take it away. What'd you think about Rose?
Well, Rose is, of course, a very lovable character that everybody can get behind because she's a little daft, but 100% loving, right?
Mhm.
She's still mourning, um, the loss of her husband, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And
Harley.
what what's not to like about Rose? Even the moments where you're like, oh god, just make you want to go, oh, you need a hug, you know.
Yes.
But just from a perspective point of view, I as you may have heard, have not watched the Golden Girls before,
Hmm.
and my exposure to Betty White growing up was as Sue Ann Nivens.
Mm.
So I was hardcore town with the Mary Tyler Moore show.
Right.
And when you said that, the idea of having, what was it, Blanche and Rose,
Mm-hmm.
the actors swapped a little while ago, it kind of made sense a little bit because, you know, Blanche is kind of a Sue Ann type
Mm-hmm.
Right.
from what I gathered in this one episode. But honestly, I think seeing Betty White play this more affable, lovable character worked better for me than I would seeing her play um, a
Mm-hmm.
Blanche type again.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
everything about Betty White works, but of course it always has. So what's new?
Right. All right. Olaf, tell me your thoughts on Rose?
Yeah, I don't like I said, that was she played the perfect part. I mean, that part was just written for her because to be that clueless on on most everything
Everything.
and everything like well in St. Olaf, you know yeah, going to that town like you say it's like the once we go visit that town, that has got to be just Comedy Central,
Yes.
because you're like, oh, and so if you did this or that, and you got this or that, and just clueless, but just I guess her character to me is kind of down to earth, very real, and just innocent, and unspoiled by it's like by Florida. She just kind of
Yeah.
still just goes along like she was raised. And like she wouldn't. Now you were talking about like Dorothy's hair, how it's great. Um, Rose. Now she was talking about, she talked about her husband Charlie. Of course, he'd been gone for 15 years,
Mm-hmm.
but she said, I just like to talk about him in the present sense
Yeah.
because it makes it feel like he's closer.
Mm-hmm.
But she made the comment that you know when she would go to sleep, she'd wake up and her hair would be perfect. She said, it's like Charlie would. It's like when he would wake up in the morning, it looked like a murder scene. So yeah, but it's like I really enjoyed her character. Well, I mean all of them, but I mean I don't think they could have picked a better person. I don't think, even though I watched a lot of it, I don't think that if she had played Blanche, I don't think it would have gone over as well.
Yeah.
I mean, so I try to picture um, us like Betty White as being, as like Rose being Betty and Betty, or no, I'm sorry, Rose being Blanche, Blanche being Rose. If you switched them, I just don't think it would work
Mm-hmm.
because
Hmm.
it's that's like I said, I just enjoyed that show. Always did and always will, I guess.
Hmm. All right, and then Jen, tell us your thoughts about Rose.
Okay, so first of all, a little bit of tiny trivia. So after Betty White died in 2020, 2020, after she died in 2022. Sorry, I didn't mean to kill her off 2 years before. Um, she,
Hey, Facebook
Good job,
tried to,
Jen.
so
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Um, the Cincinnati Zoo had, or a botanical garden. It's a zoo and botanical garden, but they had this rose, and they named the rose. Uh, they called this little rose, um, after her character Rose.
Really?
Yeah, and it was such a sweet story. I wish I could remember the whole thing, but it was such a sweet story because clearly this character has had such a profound impact, not just Betty White, which I feel like, yes, everybody believed that she's a national treasure, rightly so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the character Rose is so iconic, so that, when someone is acting clueless, you say, "Oh my God, that's so Rose-like," or "Stop being Rose," or whatever. That I feel like that is so. It's so telling about how well she played that character, because that was not Betty White. Betty
Mhm.
White was smart as a whip, and absolutely her wit was rapier sharp. I mean, she
Mm,
was
yes.
really excellent at both understanding uh, all kinds of different things, but also being an effective communicator, which is so interesting because, the character Rose to me, even though she is super clueless, right? And I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes just to the delight of my ever loving soul, um, she also sometimes says things that make you go, You did that? Wait, what?" Uh, as and she delivers those lines with, like, this straight
Mhm.
face, which I can only imagine that if there is an archive of the Golden Girls outtakes, that they would have us in stitches,
Yeah.
because Rose herself, I guarantee that Betty White did not get through every single take without laughing at just the sheer volume of straight stuff that she had to say. So, I really love Rose. I feel like she is an absolutely iconic character, and hats off to Betty White for playing this for so long.
Yeah.
That also has to be hard.
Yes, yes, definitely. And Renee, she,
Yeah. I would
yeah,
say I love all the characters, of course, and they're also different. But she's like a kid to me. When I think of like my nieces and nephews when they were little, they say what comes out their mouth and not thinking that anything's wrong with it. So she's kind of like that to me. Like she just says whatever she thinks of, and
Oh,
then
good
she'll look
point.
like what. But yes, I think I love that because of like my connection with my nieces and nephews. Like I just bust out laughing when they say whatever comes to mind. I'm like, why would you say that? But yeah. But
you know,
I can't imagine anybody playing that role, other than Betty White. So yeah.
all right. So now we'll get to the two other main characters, of course, but I want to talk about some aspects of the show, of the pilot episode. I thought the pilot was a really good start to this world that they were introducing us
Mhm.
to, and I like the whole idea of how they put it pretty fast, like this idea that that they moved in together, for camaraderie. Also, it's expensive in Miami. I mean, it's really
Mhm.
expensive now. But so when we thought that Blanche was getting married, um, that the fear that they had of trying to find
Mhm.
another place and whatnot, which was a real fear, and this was based on the whole Golden Girls thing was based on a real phenomenon that was going on at that time of older women who
Mhm.
maybe were widowed or just single and coming living together and cohabitating, and so that was kind of where that whole premise came from, and it might be even bigger to this
Worse
day
now. Yeah.
now, of that happening. So I thought that was a really good starter, and the introduction of those characters and kind of how they're gonna go forward. Uh, so the plot, for those who are listening, maybe we should run down the plot. The plot is, our Golden Girls, they live together in this house that Blanche owns, and
Mhm.
that Blanche is going on a date, and she just throws it out there that her boyfriend or whatever, or I guess you could say it was her boyfriend, had proposed to her, and she hadn't answered, and she wasn't sure what she was going to say, and they were going out on this date. So there's this fear of, oh, if she is
Mhm.
getting married, we're gonna have to find another place to live, So it was like part of them was like, you know, I mean, good for her, but it's gonna suck for us, like,
Mhm.
you know. And so ultimately, it turned out that the guy that she was going to
As a
marry
bigamist.
was a bigamist, which was
Okay.
that scene too, where the
And
cop
convict too, because he
and
Oh
was
yeah,
wanted.
right.
but it was kind of that scene was kind of strange how the cop comes to the door and didn't he look like the black guy from Police Academy? I thought it was him,
Yeah.
the guy who makes all the
Yeah.
sounds,
Yeah.
But he was from
Michael Winslow.
Designing Women, wasn't he? Wasn't that what's his
That's the
name?
guy. That's
Yeah,
you. You know what? And I actually been to that guy's house before. That is the guy from
from Designing Women.
Designing Women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Huh.
But I thought he was Michael Winslow at first.
Hmm.
I was like, is he about to start making weird noises with his mouth? But and then it's almost like a police telegram where he's you know, he's like, oh yeah, the guy you're gonna marry.
Like who would show up and tell you that you getting married to this guy? He just comes to your house to tell you.
Yeah.
And
You're
bring
right.
and brings you a note going,
Right.
he
He wanted
sent
you
you
to
this
read
note.
No.
Oh.
It's like, read this.
Like, okay, well, that's what
Cops really don't do that. Like
No.
you don't get to you don't even get to keep your numbers from your phone.
Right.
You
Like-
have to remember all that shit.
like I was just as a side note, I was watching talking about cops don't do that. I was watching a movie called Ambulance. Me and they saw it, and in the movie, they're like gonna rob a bank, and the getaway van breaks down, and a cop goes to the van, and he actually helps them get it started. I'm like, what cop does that? Help you get your
Yeah.
car started? He like pulls open the hood and he's like, all right, try this. And I'm sitting there like, what land is this where it's supposed to be LA?
Well,
where the
it's
cop,
Okay,
it's in St. Olaf. That's where that happens.
yeah, unfortunately.
okay, wait a minute. I actually did have a cop that stopped and went to go get me gas when I ran out of gas on the side of
What?
the road. So
Okay.
It does, yeah.
Did he ask you for your number? Okay. Okay, that's something different. This was a guy.
man,
These
this
are two
is
guys.
definitely the episode where I have to plead the fifth, like every single question. What the heck?
Right. You're talking about something totally different. Yeah. In that case, yeah, they may help you do a lot of stuff. They may help you if you got a kink in your neck. They might help you get that out.
To serve and protect.
Right. With an emphasis on serving. Right?
Yeah, it's like serve, and they serve the fifth from under the seat. Four on the floor and the fifth under the seat. So serve and protect.
Right.
I,
And then
I apologize for being late, but did we talk about Sophia yet? Or no?
no, we're
yet,
going to in a
I
second.
just wanted
Yes.
to make sure I didn't miss out.
Yes,
missed
we
it.
did,
Almost
and
it.
we did. You missed it. Too bad. So sad. Move on.
No, we haven't. We haven't talked about Blanche or Sophia yet.
Okay.
But you know what's funny? You gave a great transition because Sophia, whose house, her wherever she was staying at, I think
The
it was
retirement home.
Retirement home. Yeah.
Shady Pines, was it?
Yeah.
Shady Pines.
Right. Which is still like a catchphrase, like we're gonna put you in
The
Shady
Shady
Pines.
Pines, yeah.
Right. Josh is like, I don't even know what you're talking about. But believe me, it was a thing. Shady Pines. Sophia, who's really the still of the show. Like, they're all like titans, right? These four women.
Hmm.
But Sophia, she had some of the best lines. She's
Absolutely.
just so hilarious,
Right.
and her timing was so remarkable. Like she was always hitting winners left and right.
Yeah.
But so I guess we'll start off with you, Renee. Let's go right into Sophia. Talk about what you thought of how they introduced her into the show, and also her as a character overall.
Well, I thought it was funny when I was watching it, and when Blanche came from her room, and then she was telling, I forgot, her boyfriend or whatever, whoever it was she was talking to, and she said, "Oh yeah, her house burned down." I'm like, but she wasn't out there when they said that part. So I just thought that was funny. I always look for stuff like that when I watch shows and movies. But
Yeah, Olaf does that too.
yeah, but I like when how they told why she she says what she does. She says whatever because she had dementia, and that's the part of her brain that didn't work right anymore or whatever. But I think it made me think of like when my grandmother had dementia, and she would say whatever, and it's time to go home now. So yeah, she would. But I love her humor. I love everybody on there. It's kind of hard for me to say who's my favorite just because I love the show. And yeah, and for her to be the the older lady or the mom, I just love that she would say she was like the mom of all of them to me.
Right. And uh something else too Josh doesn't know about, and you don't get it from this
Sorry, Josh,
episode,
we're spoiling it.
is this show was literally the reason why I love cheesecake.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah. Oh, that
cheesecake
makes
is
sense.
like
That
a
makes sense.
cheesecake is a big thing on this show, Josh.
Yeah.
We didn't see it in this one, but it's
That's funny.
it's a
This
lot
is
of
very,
cheesecake.
yeah.
And
this is
and
very.
oddly enough, last week's show was the reason why I like coconut cream pie. So but
Hey,
yeah,
Kinte, you should come and write for movies and meals. You did perfect.
right. So Josh, just so you'll know, Josh, and come off mute, is every time when there's a tough
Mm.
situation and they got to talk, they always crank out
Go
some
to the
cheesecake,
kitchen,
get the
whipped cream, and
cheesecake.
all that stuff.
Yeah. So that's
Seemed like there were some references that were just like flying over my head.
right. So,
Okay, what's going on?
yeah, Shady Pines, yeah,
Mhm.
back in St. Olaf,
Yeah.
Cheesecake. Yeah.
Okay.
cheesecake. Yeah, it's a bunch of stuff.
That's
So Josh, since we got you, what did you think about Sophia, the mother?
May I read a quote
Sure,
from this episode?
go.
I never have that problem. Never. I sleep like a log. I never have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom.
yeah, that was
I go
funny.
in the morning, every morning, like clockwork. 7 a.m.
Yeah.
I pee. Unfortunately, I don't wake up until 8.
Yeah.
If that doesn't just absolutely nail what timing is,
Right.
Oh.
I because my first takeaway from when that conversation started was, the other two were kind of tiptoeing around, calling it what it is, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
And maybe it's because they didn't have a stroke that,
Hmm.
you know, uh,
Definitely was a stroke. Yeah.
but the first thing that I thought was kind of funny was, oh, because of that, she's just talking about how she goes to the bathroom and goes pee, something they're not saying
Hmm.
because they're too ladylike, I guess.
Yeah.
And but to be smacked upside the head with that punchline, I was like, oh God, that is
Yeah.
funny. That's exactly
It is
exactly
real.
how it should be.
Yeah,
The build up, everything was so beautiful, and just the way she delivered the I don't wake up until 8.
Right.
That from the pilot sums up everything that I needed to know about her, and the exact, because I was a little off put, at first, when she said that when she went to the kitchen and then was talking about their manservant thing,
Mhm.
Mr. Fancy. It's like Fancy
Miss
Man.
Fancy Man.
Mr. Fancy Man.
thing used in the pejorative of the occupation,
Uh-huh.
and then coming out and saying I like the petunia or something like that. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, that's 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and then all the Cuban jokes and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So yeah, but it also reminds me of, oh well, my grandmother. She's also a little racist.
Just a little, just a little.
Okay, very, but we don't go into that.
Mhm.
And I thought you know what? If this woman was my grandmother, I could tolerate her. I could really
Mhm.
tolerate her.
Mhm.
Maybe even love her.
It's like, oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah. All right, Tori. Tell us what your thoughts on
Her attitude is so great. It's like she has no bleeps given at all. Like she just doesn't want. She
Doesn't
just
matter.
doesn't think about it. No filter. That's
Mhm.
I'm kind of like that a little bit. I say things. I don't think about it, and she's very blunt and to the point. So
Mhm.
she never dilly dallies with her punchlines. Like they're always very like short and sweet, and like that's great. Shady Pines is such a funny place. Like she's so scared of that place, and it's so funny. And I like how her relationship with Dorothy too. I
Mhm.
like I like how it shows Dorothy's soft side being with the mother, and she's she you know has she has a genuine personality. She is who she is, and she's proud of that, and I like
Mhm.
that about her.
Yeah, I like how she called. She said Blanche with what way she was getting for ready for a date. So you dress like a prostitute, and Blanche was like, "Thank you." You know, looking like, "Oh, that's what I'm
Yeah.
going for," or something.
Yeah, that's the look I'm going for is
Yeah,
prostitute.
like
Hilarious.
nobody else could say that to Blanche, but she would say it,
Yeah.
and it wouldn't matter.
It's okay. Like
Yeah, yeah,
she has diplomatic immunity or
right.
something.
All right. All right, Saint Olaf. Uh, talk about Sophia, and then
That's okay. Well, when she first, it's like in this episode when she first shows up, rings doorbell, and they open the door. It's like the home burned down. Okay, and she said, and she goes in and she said, "I need $67."
Yes.
What, $67 for what? It's like for the cab fare. It's only a 15-minute drive, And then Dorothy says, "I'll go take care of this." She goes out there, and then Sophia's talking with him in there, and
Yeah.
Dorothy comes back in and says, "He said you promised him a $67 tip." No, I didn't. Six or seven. I didn't say 67. These people, if they're going to drive cabs, they need to learn how to talk.
Yeah.
So her
Yeah.
her non-filter is
Yeah.
just amazing. She says,
Mhm.
and then later on in the episode when Rose and Dorothy, or Rose is out on the lanai there, and Sophia's laying in the chase lounge like she's asleep.
She said.
Dorothy comes out there, grabs a mirror, sticks it under her nose. Yep, still breathing.
Oh
Okay,
God.
and then they start talking, and then she rolls over. She just kind of goes, and says, it's like, just starts talking and answers them or says something. "I thought you were asleep." And then
You never know.
in that little evil little tone, it was like, "You never know." So yeah, she had some of the best punchlines and the best punch because
Mhm.
she didn't care. There was no filter. She would say whatever she wanted to say.
Right.
So yeah, that was. I know I say I love all the characters. I love the characters. Again, they couldn't have picked anybody better to do Sophia. I mean, I just the whole cast. I just love the whole cast. They were great.
all right, and Jen, I know you got a lot to say, so the floor is yours.
Well, okay, so first of all, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that Sophia wasn't even supposed to be a regular on the show.
Really?
That yeah, that the pilot, basically the response to the pilot was they loved Sophia so much that they rewrote some stuff so that she could be in it every single time because she was only supposed to be kind of like a recurring character,
Oh
but
yeah.
audiences loved her so much. Okay, so one thing, I think the pilot does a pretty good job of this, but it's kind of an ongoing thing in Golden Girls with Sophia. Obviously, she is the bomb, but she never acts like the matriarch. She
Mm.
always acts like she is just one of the girls.
Mhm.
And I kind of love that because it really gives you that sense of she's just a big little kid.
Mhm.
And but then there are also times when she uses her age in a sort of self-deprecating, just phenomenal comic punch that makes you feel like, I don't know, she doesn't just joke about her age, she jokes
Mhm.
about the time, she jokes about how
Yeah.
old other people are in relation to her, or the best part is how young. Like, she'll make references to who she went out with and who she sometimes it's just so funny. And I don't I'm not trying to like make fun of old people, because that I'm going to be one probably faster than I think I'm going to be. But there is something so endearing about seeing someone, like kind of Tori said, who they just have gotten to the point where they are, it's not that I don't care about you, it's that I just don't care. In the most loving possible way that there is. It's like it's the best form of nihilism that there is, because it allows you to just say whatever you want to say in this super funny way that never apologizes for itself. I loved that about her. The other thing that I really loved about Sophia is I loved that Sophia, despite the fact that she always seemed like she was at odds with everybody, but especially her daughter, that you always got the feeling that Sophia was absolutely one of the most loving people on the
Mhm.
planet, in the capacity that she had, right?
Mhm.
Never more, never
Mhm.
less, but just, this is what I've got, this is what I'm going to give to you.
Mhm.
That is so unique. So I really did love Sophia a lot. I do. I kind of disagree. I do sort of think that this particular role, although she did make it perfect, I can see other people in this role. It's just she happens to have, like Kinte said, an excellence in comedic timing, which is
Mhm.
unparalleled. So that's my take on Sophia. I also loved. Didn't Sophia also say that the cab driver charged her for being
Oh yeah.
bilingual?
Yeah,
That he was
bilingual.
Yeah.
Yes,
fluent in
I
each.
forgot about
yes.
that. Yes.
I thought that was
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
that's funny. That was
It's a
funny.
bilingual fee. Yeah, tried to charge
Yeah.
her a bilingual fee. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, so we're gonna go back to you, Jen, and let's talk. Give me your thoughts on Blanche, Jen.
I have to say, okay, so every time we do one of these, I go back and I have to watch these again, right? Because I haven't seen them in years and years and years. This one, I have
Mhm.
to say, I actually didn't like Blanche at first. I really didn't like her. I really thought that she was like, oh my God, how snobby can you possibly be? But But if I'm being honest, the humor in her sort of being quasi stuck up is so perfect, because
Mhm.
she balances out the sort of earthy, everything is kind of, down here on this level, and Blanche is like the tattered princess, and
Mhm.
it just works so well. Also, shout out to, like I said, Bea Arthur's hairdresser, but also shout out to Blanche's costume designer. Oh my God, this woman
Mhm.
wore some cool clothes. I,
Mhm.
I want to wear those clothes. So apparently I am actually getting much older, because now I'm seeing myself in these clothes and going, ooh, yeah, I could rock that.
Hilarious, hilarious. And and Blanche was, man, she was had a active sex life
Mhm.
Yes.
and an active dating life. She
Yeah.
always, I
Yeah.
swear, every episode she always had some
A
dude
date.
that she was messing with.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
like yeah that
Active is an understatement.
Right.
right?
yeah there was a word for that back when this was started out. I mean they had a word for that. It's called tart.
Yeah, I thought it was
She was a
hussy.
tart.
I thought it was hussy. I thought
Right.
Oh no
Mhm.
tart. She
okay.
was a tart.
Yeah. And that was one thing too for Josh, a virgin friend, is that the women, they were older women, but they dealt with them getting, they was getting it, and there was the funny episode where the condoms, remember they were going to purchase condoms.
Oh
Oh
And
yeah.
God, that was so
I
yeah,
funny.
remember.
yeah, Yeah, that is hilarious. See, Josh, you gotta binge watch, Josh. You gotta
Yeah.
binge watch,
But you have
Josh.
to put Golden Girls. You can't say Josh, our virgin friend. You have to say Golden Girls, virgin friend.
Golden Girls. Oh, say yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Looking like
What?
what?
He's
Josh
a
has
he's a
Josh.
GG virgin. That's what it is. GG virgin.
Okay, Josh has like 7 kids, so
I mean, it was
I'm
the face he
assume he's
made with.
not. I'm assuming he's not a virgin.
It could
Okay.
have been
I don't know. I
immaculate.
wasn't
I
there.
don't know.
It could have been immaculate
Yeah,
conception.
you never
It could have been.
Right, right.
You know, hey, you know what they say? No, it's like no pictures, no proof.
I mean, I don't know. We got to see if he owns a
Guys,
turkey. We got to see if he
Yeah.
owns a turkey baster.
Poor Josh.
guys,
But
let's not go there. I mean, there's
So-
some things that we are not ready for prime time with.
hey, it's watching the Golden Girls. It brings it out. To you. All right, so Tori,
Yes.
so talk about your thoughts about Blanche.
I love that she's a slut. I love it. she's one of those women that she's just fancy and she talks with her
Yeah.
hands and she's a girly girl, you know? Like Dorothy is kind of a tomboyish.
Mhm.
Right.
She always wears like pantsuits
Yeah.
and everything. But Blanche is definitely a girly girl and
Yeah.
she's spoiled. She's spoiled and she's never had anything less. So she thinks that her idea of grandiosity is so big. Like
Mhm.
she thinks she's the cat's meow. And that's why she has so many boyfriends. Because she needs that validation that she's hot. So
Mhm.
like that's why she always like, you know, has to have a new man, you know, and goes through men like she's a man eater. She really is.
And she's mourning the death of her
Mhm.
husband.
Yes.
George.
And somebody,
They
I
say
think it was Dorothy asked like, but she said to Dorothy something to the effect like, I wonder what my dead husband. I can't remember his name right now.
I think hers is
George.
George, right?
George.
And then I wonder what he would think about me getting married or something to that effect. And then I think what was the reply was something like no, I don't think he would like it, but he's dead, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Something like
something
that.
Right. It's like if he's living, he probably wouldn't be too happy, but he's dead, so don't worry about
Right.
it.
Right. That's it. That was the
Right.
Yeah. All right. So Olaf.
What?
So of all the Golden Girls, would Blanche be the one you would go out with?
Yeah. It's like I mean, it's like you're almost guaranteed. It's like a fun night.
They
I
say
don't know. Sophia, we never know. Sophia.
Yeah, it's like age has its privileges too. So
Right.
of course now Blanche being the Southern belle that she is, that's a lot of and okay, I can't really go there because that didn't come up in the pilot. It's like, but her being the Southern, it's
Southern Belle.
Southern belle.
I do declare.
I did declare, yeah, I'm just like so.
do declare.
I jumped ahead quite a few episodes about how where she was at. So, but yeah, her, it's like just always constantly. I mean, dressed to the nines, and makeup and all that. It's like, yeah, most times she, like Sophia said, you look like a prostitute. But yeah,
she said thanks. I think she's like,
Yeah.
She did.
Thanks.
she said thank you.
Now, Olaf and Josh, you guys are both from the South. Do you guys ever use "I do declare"?
Constantly.
I do declare that that's just a false statement. I never, ever. I mean, I do declare I never use that words. Those words, never.
This conversation's giving me the vapors.
Oh,
Gosh.
something
That's
awful.
so
It's
funny.
like the vapors. I just can't do this no more. I declare. I do declare.
Uh,
You know, you know what's funny about that in particular is that she's the only one on the show that has any of that sort of affect, and it kind of
Mm,
makes her like special
mhm,
inside of special.
right.
And I fully believe that that is exactly what they were going for. They weren't just trying to make her, um, promiscuous and whatever. They were actually trying to make her the special, and they
mm,
totally succeeded.
mhm,
Right.
hmm.
Okay, so Josh, Blanche.
Wow. Okay.
Now, wait, of the cast, would I had asked the guys this?
You got to
Of,
ask
of,
him the same question.
of the
Right.
cast, would Blanche be the one you would go out with, or would it be Sophia, or Dorothy, or Rose? Or hey, you know what? I'm not going to judge. It could be the manservant guy. So
Fancy man.
fancy man,
hmm,
yeah, Petunia.
fancy is cool, but out of the options that you've given me,
Option.
I would say I would absolutely go with Rose.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay,
Mm,
all right,
okay.
There's
all right.
no question about it. I not uh, I don't need promiscuity. I don't need to be insulted constantly, and I don't need my significant other to conveniently forget where they are. So while a little bit on the
That's pretty
maybe
good.
naive side, I think Rose would just be more fun to spend time with because
Mm.
I wouldn't want to, you know, jump off a bridge afterwards.
My guess
um,
is she could drink you under the table.
She
Yeah.
probably could. Yep.
you know what's funny? Betty White, when Obama was running for president,
Mhm.
she was on a talk show, and uh, she was saying, they said, they say that Obama doesn't have enough experience, to become president, and then her response was, "Oh, he doesn't have enough experience. I'll give him some experience."
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. You know,
I.
that's the funny thing. It's like in a lot of the interviews and stuff, and
Mhm.
different shows and things that Betty White was on. She was a bit of a character on there.
Oh yeah.
It's like a little bit
Hmm.
of a flirt and stuff. So
Mhm.
Right. So okay. So Josh, Blanche, your thoughts about Blanche?
I gotta say, throughout this first episode, they gave me nothing to hold on to
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
for the longest time. There was just nothing to cling myself to because she's introduced and then she's in possibly going to be engaged. Well, she hasn't decided if she's going to say yes. And then the crisis hits everybody else, so they're wondering where they're going to live. And when the
Mhm.
the issue gets brought up, she says, you could stay here, until you find a place. And it's like, that's not
Yeah.
that's no, I don't like that at all.
Mhm.
But once everything happens and it finds out that the guy that she's supposed to be engaged to is a bigamist, you at least get some sort of emotional arc to
Mhm.
hold on to. Something that at least makes you feel some sympathy. And the performance of that I thought was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And by
Mhm.
the end of it, while I didn't think she was the most sympathetic character there, it did make me want to see just how she'll grow as time went on. As there were more episodes, because at this point, just for one episode, I think uh, this is the character that probably needs the most growth.
Mhm.
Okay, and then perfect. segue into Renee, who will close this out.
Is it?
Yes, your thoughts on Blanche in this episode, and then give him a little taste of the growth that her character, going forward.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think kind of at first I was like they call her a whore, a slut,
Right.
whatever. I was like, okay, but then when she says, when she's getting engaged, and they're like, but you've known her for a week or whatever, and she's like, but at my age, who wants to be engaged for a long time? So
Right.
I think
Right.
it's kind of, I guess, true to when you get older, you don't know how much time you have left. So you're like, well, what am I waiting for? So I kind of like that part about her character. Even though she, has a lot of men or whatever, partners or whatever, but she's still like, well, I'm not dead yet. And I do want to enjoy life while I'm here. So I do like that about her. But she sticks to her character, as the show goes, I can say. But um, I think she comes off as more caring and loving as the show goes on, especially because they're together and they're older and single. So yeah.
Yes. All
Renee,
right.
do you have an
Mhm.
announcement that you want to make?
Me?
Yeah. I mean, you're not getting any younger, so no, 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 no.
Hey, look, even a baby,
Yeah.
hey, even a baby's not getting any younger.
Not
I was
yet.
just asking, you know.
Yeah.
I actually am getting younger.
Okay,
Benjamin
Benjamin
Button
Button.
Benjamin
over
Button.
here.
Yeah.
Call it what you want, but I'm gonna live forever.
Okay,
Josh
Oasis.
is actually engaged to himself right now because yeah, it was a perfect age. I totally agree, Josh. Good job.
All right. So, one last thing, I want to run through this so we can put a bow on this. We'll start off with you, Renee. How do you feel like watching it now? How do you feel like the show is held up?
Oh, it always holds up, and like I said, I've seen every episode. I knew what they were going to say and what was going to happen, so I could, every episode that comes on, I know all the lines, and I still laugh even though I know how each episode goes. So I can watch this forever, no
Right.
matter what. And even though you're having a bad day or something, if you watch the Golden Girls, you won't have a bad day anymore.
Right. And I mean, Josh, you're a father, and I have to really call you out. That's like negligence that you haven't shown your daughters Golden Girls. What's wrong with you, Josh? What's wrong with you, Josh?
Yeah, Josh.
Self-loathing. I haven't shown it to myself either.
I'm gonna call them people. They're
Call the hotline.
gonna kick in your door. That's what you're supposed to do. That as a parent, you're supposed to show them the Golden Girls. That's in the handbook. You didn't get the handbook
Oh my goodness.
when they gave you the
Yeah.
when they put that first baby in your hands. You didn't get the handbook.
You get the mother manual.
Get a few Golden Girls DVDs in the basket with some
Yeah.
diapers.
Right.
And
Shame
Oh my
on
God,
you.
a bottle of
Jamie,
bourbon.
Cheesecake.
Jen, you're a mother,
yes,
Jen, right?
yes.
Please tell me you exposed your kids to the Golden Girls.
Well, in our basket was like old episodes of MacGyver, so apparently there's
Oh
Bea.
yeah.
Oh wow.
Actually, you know what? Okay, wait. All seriousness, we because somebody was rerunning this forever. I don't know if it was Nick at Night or what it was, but we used to make a ritual of watching the Golden Girls, and
Mhm.
while some of the humor is a little bit dated, I mean, yeah, no, some stuff just kind of makes you cringe a little. Most of
Mhm.
it is just still so funny. There is nothing pretty much that they say that doesn't make you either laugh because it's cringeworthy and really laugh,
Mhm.
or laugh because the comedic timing between all of these women was just on point every single episode. My kids loved this show. I mean, really loved it. I think this show held up so well. And there's nothing here that is like a bad message to send to people. Like
Mhm.
the messages are so when they're not, super over the top silly, they're so wholesome. I,
Mm-hmm.
I I can only I can only hope that when I get to be uh Estelle Getty's pretend age,
Yeah.
that my kids treat me as
Like
poorly as they
that.
treated her, and have such a good time because I'm sure it'll be great. So
Yes. You know what? I will share my cheesecake with you then, and Renee as well. No
Thanks.
cheesecake for Josh. So
listen,
let
by the
so
time that we all get to be that age, we better buy stock in a cheesecake
Yeah.
company because we're going to
Yes.
be needing a lot. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
so all right. So let me, Olaf, you're a father. Please tell me you exposed your kids to Golden Girls.
I think so.
Okay,
That's
I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check. I'll send those people. I'm gonna send those people.
I think they've watched it. I'm not sure. Yeah, I was working most of the time, so it's like I wasn't home a lot, until after like dinner. I can't. I don't really remember if we watched that together or not.
Okay.
That were many years ago, dude.
You know what though? I'm gonna hold the cheesecake. I'm gonna hold the cheesecake, and we'll wait to see if you get a slice.
Oh man.
All right. All right. So Tori.
Yes.
All right. So do you get
Say
cheesecake?
yes. Say yes. Say you did it.
Do you get cheesecake? Did you expose your kids to Golden Girl?
Well, my daughter is not old enough to really get it yet.
Mm.
She's
Doesn't
9.
matter.
So
Doesn't
so
matter.
No cheesecake.
Doesn't
No.
matter.
No
Doesn't matter.
cheesecake for you.
okay,
Doesn't
well,
matter.
I
He
will
said
have a
not
Golden Girls marathon with her
Okay.
as soon as she comes of age.
Look. It doesn't
It'll
matter.
blossom her into the wonderful world of
to. She
womanhood.
can become.
You know.
Look. You're
So
supposed to
funny.
share with them when they're in the womb.
Yes.
All right. So, all right. So let's start off with the ladies. We'll start off with you, Renee. How can we get you in social media and all that good and wonderful
My
stuff?
pencil writes at wordpress.com or Instagram, my pencil SYL writes. So yeah, that's me.
Wait a
And
minute. Wait, is that
uh-huh.
different? Is there a difference?
Oh yeah, the Instagram, I'm sorry, it is SYL instead of CIL. But yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
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 But you can find me either way.
Okay. All
That's
right.
me.
All right. All right. All right. Jen, je ne sais quoi. How can we
Yeah,
get
yeah.
you?
Well, you can't really find me anywhere, actually, but you can go to my blog and check out my movies and meals. And there's a giant picture of me with a huge Nazgul in the background. So head on over to moviesandmeals.com and you can see me there.
Oh,
All right. All right. And Tori, you get all the
So
glory.
you can get me on the movie potluck with Jen every Thursday, and at 8:30 Eastern. It's so much fun. We talk about movies and stuff like that, and then we pair it with food. It's so much fun. And then I also have my podcast called The Infectious Geek every Friday night at 9 o'clock, and you can catch that on YouTube or my Facebook page. It goes live, so you can go there too. And then my Instagram at Rush Story.
All right. Have you ever done a show on gaming, Tori? Yeah.
Yes, but I really want to do another one. Like I want to revamp it.
All right. I want to be on that one.
Okay.
All right. Board gaming.
Oh yes. Oh
ooh,
yes.
yeah.
Huh.
this week,
Yeah.
this week is
Wow.
going to be
That's a
old
good
school
one.
video games. So
Oh,
Mm,
really? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that's a good one.
yeah.
All right. So yeah, we gotta
That's
definitely
cool.
check it out. Olaf. I
Yo.
can't. I was gonna try to rhyme something with Olaf, but I couldn't think of anything. Olaf gets the goal. Get the goal off.
Mm, mm, mm.
There you go.
All right. So how can we get you?
Well, you can follow me on
Mm.
Facebook at Olaf Barbosa, but as I always say, don't follow too close because I do get nervous and I do have an itchy trigger finger.
Boom, boom,
Woo!
Mm, mm, mm.
boom, 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 boom. And oops, you're not mosaic stuff. All right. And last, but yeah, he's last.
Mm-hmm.
Aw.
Wah, wah, wah. Sad clown. Joshua, how can we get you?
Well, you can always follow me on Twitter at SkidComics. Stay tuned this Friday for the Wadcasts, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, over at the Wadcast Facebook page, as well as Wadco Media's Facebook page. But if you just want convenient links to everything, I can say it now. WadcoMedia.com is up and running.
Looks beautiful too, man. Looks
Yay!
beautiful, man. I'm
I'm
very
no web
proud of
designer, but I do what I can.
you. It looks beautiful.
Do
And
it.
what's Friday's show gonna be about?
Friday's show is going. Well, you know how when a lot of people talk about movies that are coming out, it's another sequel or it's another adaptation, it's a remake. Well, we have talked about the reasoning why studios make these decisions, but this Friday we're going to take a look at the creative side about why sequels, reboots, and remakes could actually be a good thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Mm.
Oh wow, let's see how you stretch that one. So yeah,
Josh,
okay.
you need to see me after the podcast so that we can talk about how to pronounce the word adaptation.
I got this. I got this.
Oh
I'm
Lord.
in trouble.
Oh, you got
All
to stay
right.
after school.
And you can
Oh, you're in
and you can
trouble.
get me at Kinte Ferguson on Instagram, Kinte F on Twitter, and of course the website is theindieradio.com. That's theindieradio.com.
Oh,
All
I'm
right.
on that. I'm on that too. So
Yes,
yeah.
yes, you are. And
Woo.
stay tuned if you're watching live. We will be covering the pilot episode of Twin Peaks. And next week, we will be doing the pilot episode of Married with Children and
Oh.
also the pilot
Oh yeah.
episode of The X Files.
Yes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Do,
So,
do,
yeah.
do, do,
So, yes. So, with that said, we'll see you in just a few. God bless.